Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a puzzle that's really at the heart of everything happening in crypto and Web3. It's this fundamental challenge that every single developer has to face. And honestly, if you can understand it, you'll be way better at spotting the next big thing. It's called the Blockchain Trilemma. So this idea was famously laid out by Ethereum's founder, Vitalik Buterin. He basically realized that every blockchain network has this critical trade-off. As you can see here, they can usually be really good at two of these things, but getting all three at once, well, that's kind of the holy grail. And this is the perfect way to think about it. Building a successful blockchain isn't just about cranking one feature up to the max. No, it's this incredibly delicate balancing act. If you lean too far one way, you risk the whole thing just falling apart. So, what are these three balls we're juggling anyway? Let's actually break down each one so we're all on the same page. First up is decentralization. This is the whole promise of blockchain, right? Instead of one company or one bank controlling everything, the power is spread out across a global network of computers, what we call nodes. This is what makes the network open to anyone and super resistant to being shut down or censored. Next, you've got security. This is what makes the whole system trustworthy. By using some really powerful cryptography and rules for how everyone agrees on transactions, that's the consensus part, a blockchain creates a permanent, tamper-proof record. It's an ironclad fortress that protects the network from attacks and keeps everything legit. And finally, there's scalability. This is all about growth. For blockchain to really go mainstream and be used for stuff like global finance or huge online games, it has to be able to handle a ton of activity. We're talking Visa-level volume. A scalable blockchain can serve millions of people without slowing to a crawl or becoming ridiculously expensive to use. So we have decentralization, security, and scalability. The problem is, they're in a constant tug-of-war. They pull in opposite directions. And this is where projects have to make some really tough choices and where we see the trilemma in action. Let me give you a classic example. If you want to be super decentralized, you want thousands of people all over the world running nodes. Awesome. But the more nodes you have, the longer it takes for them all to talk to each other and agree on everything. That communication lag slows the whole network down, so you end up sacrificing scalability. See the trade-off? And this table just lays it out perfectly. Take a look at Bitcoin. It's the king of decentralization and security, over 10,000 nodes. But it's slow, like really slow, at about 7 transactions per second. Then you've got something like Solana on the other end, which is blazing fast. But it gets that speed by using a smaller group of more powerful computers, which, leads to a lot of debate about how decentralized it really is. And let me be clear, the stakes here are incredibly high. The collapse of the Terra USD stablecoin was a brutal, brutal lesson. Its design prioritized some cool new ideas for scalability, but it turned out there were major flaws in its security and decentralization model. When the market got stressed, the whole thing just imploded, wiping out billions of dollars overnight. But look, the story doesn't end there. This trilemma, it isn't some unbreakable law of physics. It's an engineering challenge. And some of the smartest people in the world are creating these incredible, ingenious solutions to try and crack it. So let's see how they're doing it. Okay, one of the biggest breakthroughs is something called Layer 2 solutions. The best way to think about them is like building an express lane on top of a super secure but totally jammed highway like Ethereum. Projects like Arbitrum and Optimism process thousands of transactions super fast and cheap off the main chain, and then they just bundle them all up and post a single receipt back to the mainnet. So you get all that speed without giving up the rock-solid security of the main network. Pretty brilliant. Another really powerful solution is something called sharding. Instead of making every single computer on the network process every single transaction, sharding splits the work up. It's like a grocery store opening up 64 checkout lanes instead of forcing everyone to wait in just one. It's a huge part of Ethereum's long-term plan to scale up for everybody. So how does it work? The concept is actually pretty simple. You split the network into these little pieces, or shards. Each shard handles its own set of transactions at the same time, in parallel. Then the system coordinates all those results and combines them back into one consistent record. It's a classic divide-and-conquer strategy, but for a blockchain. Now, here's why this is so critical. With Bitcoin's proof of work, security comes from raw computing power. If you split that power up into shards, each little piece becomes much easier to attack. But as this quote points out, with proof of stake, security works differently. It's not tied to computing power in the same way, which makes it much, much safer to split the network into shards and scale it up. And that brings us to the evolution of consensus itself. The whole industry has been shifting away from that energy-guzzling proof-of-work model that Bitcoin uses and moving towards the much more efficient proof of stake. And let me tell you, that shift has been an absolute game changer for scalability. And the difference is just staggering. Look at the energy use. A single Bitcoin transaction can guzzle 600 joules. After Ethereum switched to proof of stake, its energy use per transaction just plummeted. Not only is this way better for the environment, but it also lowers the barrier to entry, making it easier for more people to help secure the network, which is great for decentralization. So, after all that technical stuff, why should you actually care about the blockchain trilemma? Well, because it's not just some abstract theory. It's probably the most powerful tool you can have for navigating the entire crypto world. Honestly, understanding this trilemma is like your secret weapon for cutting through all the hype. The next time some new project claims it's the fastest and best thing ever, you can step back and ask, okay, but what did you trade off? What's the cost to your decentralization or security? It gives you this amazing framework to analyze the real strengths and weaknesses of any project out there. And that leaves us with this one big final question. As all these amazing solutions get better, are we heading towards one perfect blockchain that finally solves the trilemma for good? Or is the future more like a diverse ecosystem of specialized chains? Some built for speed, others for maximum security, all of them connected and working together. The answer to that is going to shape the entire future of the internet.